All right, we're joined by Jennifer Kirwan. Kirwan of Leavenworth, Kansas, home of a very large prison. How do you like that?
I love it.
Am I telling the truth?
That's what we're known for. Actually, the truth is there are probably 4 or 5 prisons there.
There's jails, prisons. There's a NASCAR racetrack.
Thank you. I feel so.
And a military base.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're making me feel really good about where I come from.
It's awesome. Are you kidding me? I went to dental school not too far from there, so I'm very familiar with it.
That's right.
So,
yeah. It's a military town mostly because it's a war college town. So everybody all of the officers in the military have to go through there. These are our biggest leaders. This is where Colin Powell went through. This is where all the top generals come through. So it's really kind of cool because you get to meet a lot of these families that their spouses are moving and shaking our country and protecting our country. So pretty cool.
How'd you end up there?
Interesting. I went to college not too far from there at Benedictine in Atchison, Kansas, on a tennis scholarship.
And where?
Benedictine in Atchison, Kansas. Okay. Yeah, that's where I met my husband. And again, tennis was my sport that took me there on a full ride scholarship. So
I should have played with you this weekend.
I would have kicked your rear end.
You don't know that.
I kind of do.
I know I'm a little bit bigger, but I get moving.
I've lost once, and I was in labor.
Oh, well, okay. Well, I can't. Well, I look like I'm going to go into labor.
It's the only time my husband has ever beat me was I was in labor. So that's a true story. I ended up joining the Army when I was in undergrad, and so I had a commitment, but I got an educational delay. Went to Creighton.
Yeah, in Omaha?
Mm-hmm, in Omaha, same place as Aaron Elliott. And then went and did my my active duty time, and my last duty station was Fort Leavenworth.
Oh, wow.
So
never stuck around.
I didn't ever plan to. It just ended up being kind of a little...
Was your husband in the military as well?
No. He was not. No. Okay. I ended up having 4 children during that time period. That's a lot. They're all teenagers right now, which is a kind of a death sentence, but it's actually a lot of fun.
Well, I have a 13-year-old, so I kind of know what you're talking about.
You understand. But so he is a stay-at-home dad still with them. So but anyway, I ended up at Fort Leavenworth, and I ended up meeting a wonderful pediatric dentist there. And gosh, it just I was going to open my own practice, but he invited me to create a adult part.
Within.
Yes, he said that the pediatric moms, the patients' moms, were always asking him if he could treat them. And so it just made sense. He was prior service military, and it just was this awesome powerhouse combination. So we remodeled. I took on the general dentistry side, created it within the practice, and then he had a thriving pediatric practice too. So it was the
right opportunity, right city.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And you don't and I hear from so many dentists that at least the dentists coming out of school, they all want to live in major metro areas.
Yeah.
But I always say to them, the real money and the real opportunities are about 45 to 75 minutes outside of a major metro area. And I think Leavenworth fits into that ballpark.
It's a bedroom community to Kansas City, and it's just right outside, about 20 minutes from the airport, 20 minutes from the city limits. And so it really, for me, is a honey hole because I like being a big fish in a little pond. Mm-hmm. I really thought I wanted to go to Kansas City, but I don't have to fight traffic. It's wonderful.
You don't have to fight other dentists?
No.
Or as many of them?
No, not at all, actually. Everybody, in my town, we all really support each other, too. There's a lot of really great dentists in my town. So.
Well, you had mentioned Erin Elliott. So while you did mention her, let's get a quick plug in.
Sure.
But you are here, spend 4 days with her at our Sleep 1 and Sleep 2 program.
Yes.
How'd you meet Erin?
I met Erin through Mommy Dentists in Business. It's a Facebook group.
They won't let me in.
Yes. I don't know why,
I'm gonna get the ACLU and I'm gonna sue them.
It's kind of weird. Well, we are prejudiced. You do have to have the right parts. But Anna Baby.
I'm in transition.
You are? You identify as?
That's the word.
You identify as. Okay, produce a baby
I can get a note.
Can join.
I have 3. And I got one. Look, I got one in here.
You're Gary. Sorry.
So,
anyway.
So you met Erin online.
I did.
Okay.
I did. I'll be honest with you. I had taken a course through Spear, actually, on sleep, and it really just opened my eyes to this whole world. And I couldn't unknow what I knew then. And it really just made me feel like I've got to do something about,
to help your patients.
Yes.
And help you practice.
And I went back and just looked at everybody, especially all the kids, so differently. And anyway, I started all of a sudden getting all of these referrals from ENTs and other doctors in the area. I didn't seek out about getting an appliance made, but I really just didn't feel like I had enough information to feel confident to do it. The information that was presented to us was really great. It just wasn't. Erin put it in a recipe for us. And so the way she presented it really made it easy to follow, broken down. And I'm leaving. I did her 101 course, and I'm in the middle of the level 2, which was kind of a big jump. But for me, this is such an awesome, I wouldn't call it a refresher because I feel like I've really cemented the information. And she presents just so beautifully. And she's so funny.
We're so fortunate to have her. Here's what I would say. She stole my workflow. But no.
So you get the credit.
No. We've worked really hard together to really build a program that is about putting sleep into action.
Yes.
Sleep apnea therapy into action.
Yes, and successfully.
And so Spear does a phenomenal job of giving a lot of science and a lot of information. And, but I think what we have seen with a lot of people that have come, not just from Spear programs, but other sleep apnea programs, especially the AADSM type programs, is that people struggle to put into action how to involve their team, how to help make it affordable, how to get the hygienist on board, how to, all the little steps, that really are successful, that make practices successful with implementation. That's really where we focus. That's why it's called Sleep 1 implementation. And then Sleep 2 is about the next level. It's about dealing with complications, dealing with, just more knowledge so that you're more confident.
And pediatrics.
And I think that might really fit into your ball game.
Yes. I think anybody can talk about sleep, but the way that these courses have been geared towards the entire team, sometimes I sit in courses that are for the entire team, but I always kind of feel like they're not really talking to me. They're really kind of have it put in a way that's really for my assistant. So I'm always feeling just kind of like a support role. This is different because what you realize through this is that you have to find your sleep champion, which is the person that does this for you within your practice.
That owns it.
Owns it for you. And doctors need to just get out of the way. And that's really my take home because I tend to get way too involved in things and want to be micromanaging in there because I don't know if you know this, but dentists are like that.
No, well, I don't know. I am so like that or was so like that.
No, but that's what's been wonderful for me is because I can visualize now my person who I want to take over all of that. So I think it's exciting to me. I bought my equipment that I need, and invested. My team's excited, so I think it's going to be a blast, and I feel good. Like I left the first course back in February, scared, like I don't know what to do, like
overwhelmed.
Yes,
so much information.
Very overwhelmed. And then when these DME, with durable medical equipment prescriptions, started coming in for me to make this, I thought, I don't really know what to do.
Which one do I choose? Where do I put the bite?
There's just
all these things, right?
Too much floating around, and now
how do I build medical? How do all these questions?
I had no clue, but that's how I met Erin. It was that on this mommy site, I finally got so overwhelmed. I
reached out for help.
I posted, and somebody, actually, many people continued to recommend her, and so then I messaged her.
They don't ever mention my name in this.
I don't know if you. I thought it was a steak.
Yeah, possibly.
We're talking
possibly. But that hurts my feelings. Just so you know. But
no, but I will tell you the brand that you created, 3D Dentist, was definitely mentioned, which is really good.
No, I'm somewhat joking.
I know,
somewhat, not completely. It was
not
somewhat.
really joking.
No, not at all. Not at all. But. Number one, thank you for your support. My children appreciate it. It helps support all of the stuff you see here. And so we greatly appreciate it. But I do think one last point, and then we'll get back to really what I want to talk about, is I think one of the things that separates us is that, and I've got to give Aaron all the credit on this, is that we support our people afterwards. We have our private Facebook group that you can come in and ask very specific questions. And then even outside of that, even non-attendees through the Mommy Dentist group and all of that, we really focus on making sure people do well with this. Yeah. So you guys have Mommy Dentists. My wife has Mommy, Physician Purse Club or something like that. So when she has a problem that like my daughter broke 4 of her fingers a couple of weeks ago, and so she got the X-rays from whatever X-rays we had taken, and she said I went online and posted it in the Mommy Purse Club, the Physician Purse Club group. And I'm like, oh my God!
And they knew what to do.
It's so you guys have that, and my wife has the purse group. So.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, what stood out to me, and when we were talking, and there's so much more about you that I would love to talk about. Your clinical skills, how great you are clinically. The work that you're doing. But what stuck out to me that I really want to focus on is your practice story. Okay, so you're alluding to earlier. You joined a pediatric dentist. You built a general dentist portion within this. Were you an associate at the time?
For a few years, and then I became a partner.
Okay, so then you became equal 50-50 partners.
And then I rocked it.
Yeah,
of
course.
I was doing so much better than him.
So, well, let me ask you, on a side note, my wife's going to beat me this year. And it hurt. I'm proud. Don't get me wrong, okay? But there's a little bit of an ego crush there. Yeah. Do you think he had that? Oh,
yes. We made no bones about our competitive nature. It was, but
there's a difference in being competitive and then having your ego hurt and being a little bit bitter about it.
No, I don't think he was ever bitter. Okay. I mean, we both kind of cheered each other on. We were really great partners, but it was always like, I beat you this year. But then I think with as much cosmetic dentistry as I was doing, it's really hard for pedo to keep up with that, but
my wife always says I get $80 at a time and you get $10,000 at a time.
Exactly. So, exactly. I'm like, that's a lot of RPEs, to try to keep up with. But.
So, okay. So you had this good partnership.
I had a great partnership.
You're 50-50 partners. Yes. And so I'll just let you take it over. So tell me what happened.
Well, so my partner decided he needed to retire, and it was pretty quickly that he had decided to. He, I think, was having some health issues at that point, and had been in dentistry for so long, and so I had first right of refusal, but I was still paying my half of my side off, so I couldn't take it. Anyway, he brought on another partner very, very quickly, sold his half to someone, and it was very difficult because I thought it was going great. I had full 100% confidence and hopes in his decision. I got to be a part of the decision, of course, but about 4 months into it, just out of the blue, Jen, can I talk to you for a second outside? Sure. I want to split. I want to take my patients and open my own practice down the street. And I'm learning from my mistakes. I didn't have.
We all learn from our mistakes.
Oh, so radius clause is one of them. Yeah. But anyway, he's successful.
But he's a pediatric dentist?
He's a pediatric dentist down the street.
Is there really a competition there? But a lot of that probably feeds your practice.
It does. And here's why. Because this brand, I think this was the hardest thing for me, is that, and also my old partner, because he still comes to me as his dentist, and I think it really just hurts his feelings when imagine someone taking over this 3D dentist that you've created, that you have fed, nurtured, changed everything, and put your blood, sweat, and tears into. And that was our brand. So he was called something different. And when I came on board, we named our practice the Smile Center. And it grew into this beautiful thing. And then to have somebody basically just rip it apart, it was so hard.
Were things not going well for you too?
Well, so no, things were going really, really well as far as I think the practice was doing really well. But I mean, there's so much that now that that, got broken open, now I realize where there were problems.
You're peeling the onion back. You look back through the retrospective scope.
You look back and go, wow.
How did I not see this?
How did I not see that coming? Yeah. But I just had rose-colored glasses on, and I was just so ready to have this new partner and get going. And I was terrified because my rock was leaving.
How long ago was this?
This was in November of 2016 was the final
about
split.
3 years ago.
It was. However, in 2014 is when he told me he was leaving. So we had to stay in the same house.
Wait, let me back up. So, God, this is horrible.
It is awful. So this is being...
So 5 years ago, you got the news out of the blue. Bam, Band-Aid ripped off.
But it doesn't work that way. A divorce in a practice is a lot harder, messier, and more expensive than a partnership. I believe that, and I learned that. And so it wasn't as if he could just leave and you can't pick up a chair and move it or whatever. And
but you guys own it equal.
Yes, we own it equal. So try splitting that up. I mean, it was ridiculous. It was so his and hers furniture, and so then I bought all.
It's literally like a divorce.
It was exactly like a divorce. And then you're living in the same house in a divorce, and then you have the kids
for 2 more years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, it was more like 18 months really. Yeah. But then you have the kids, which are the assistants and the hygienists, going, well, we don't want to go with him. We want to stay with you. And I'm like, you can't stay with me because you belong to him. It was really, really hard.
These are all the things we don't even think about.
No,
right?
you don't.
Because
you really don't.
I never thought about that. Right?
You really don't. And it just, all the way down to just TVs and video cable. it just gets to the point where you're like, I don't care. I just want it over with. Yeah. So when it ended, I just did. That was the day I came home and opened up a bottle of Dom Perignon. I did, and I was like, "It's over. It's done." And my husband and I celebrated, and because I realized we were not a good match. And
what did this do to you financially?
Financially, actually, I thought I was going to do really, really well, but because I was in a military town and I was treating all of these military families, that was my bread and butter. Mm-hmm. And so I thought I was doing really well. So I went ahead and took out a working capital loan. I did a great big design and just revamped everything. He took the old chairs and actually didn't even use them and got rid of them, I believe, which is just, to me, hurtful. And then so I bought all new pediatric chairs, so my practice has one wing that's pedo and one wing that's adult. And
you were doing the pediatrics?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I had basically a residency with him, and so I was very comfortable treating children. I love treating kids, and since I have like 8,000 kids
you
of
were
my own.
like you were starting over with a smaller. Yeah. I guess you had a patient base.
Yeah, but here's the worst part: I had an associate. We shared an associate, and in that divorce,
how do you split that? So
her production gets. I know it's hard. So her production would get split, and we shared her, and through the divorce, we lost her too.
So now. I'm not trying to make this convoluted or complicated.
Mm-hmm. It is. It's okay.
You couldn't buy your partner out because you weren't ready.
Right. Okay. Financially.
And then you had this divorce, not personal divorce, a professional divorce.
Yes.
So that probably had some financial setback with it.
$250,000.
That had a financial setback to it. So now you're in more debt, and you don't have equipment.
Mm-hmm. No, that bought the equipment.
Okay, that bought the equipment.
That bought the equipment.
So you had to do a renovation. So now you bought the equipment. Yes. There you go. All right. So now things are looking up.
Things are looking up. Things are looking really up, and I'm super excited because I have the name, I have the brand, and I have the reputation. He's only been in town a few months, so it doesn't. Right. I didn't think anything of it. But I think the hardest part was I believe it was maybe a few months later, the military insurance changed from MetLife to United Concordia. And the reimbursement was below Medicaid. And there was no way I could do, I think it ended up being like 6 fillings in the same time. It took me to do 1 in order to make ends meet. And so I lost 50% of my practice right then and there. And just hanging on by a shoestring, I honestly, I give it 1,000% up to my God and the Lord, because I was such a control freak driving it that I finally just gave up and said, this is for you, this isn't for me, and just do what you're going to do with it, and I'll ride along. And I honestly believe that me giving up that control, I never missed a beat. I never missed a beat. Patients from the town were waiting to get in, and I didn't even know it. I didn't know.
Because you had, all this stuff was taken up all the time.
Because my military families, which I love and I miss, they were so wonderful. That's all I was booking. And so now I have this really well-rounded practice that feeds everybody. And so since then, I went through some really hard times too. I really had to do some really big.
Did you ever want to give up?
Yes.
Did you want to sell?
Yes, I wanted.
Did bankruptcy ever come into the picture?
Almost.
Yeah, almost. How do you overcome all of this? Okay, so let me back up. Okay, I'm sorry. Let me set the stage here. Okay, so my question. Look, I have so much respect for mommies. Okay, and professional working mommies for sure. So listen, you've got a practice loan. You unexpectedly had to take on $250,000 million. You lost half your practice essentially, and then 6 months in, you lost a military contract or insurance basically that was non-viable anymore. And you're a mother. You have 4 children. I'm not trying to.
It's a little bit.
Yeah, so
it's a little bit.
So how do you not say, okay, I'm going to sell. I'm just going to go work for somebody?
I really think I can. I mean, yeah. But I guess really failure wasn't an option. Okay. And I had to really rely on the support of my husband to just make me get out of bed in the morning. I went through a pretty darn serious time of depression, big time, and didn't want to get out of bed.
How long did that last?
I would say probably a good 1.5 years, almost 2 years, because I was working so hard. I felt like just let people have a job, and I didn't want to let them down. I didn't want to let my family down. And as the breadwinner, I had so many mouths to feed and depend on, and I knew that the option was not to quit. I'd been through too much in my life, even from a young kid, to quit now, and I was living my dream, which was a nightmare. Right.
Well, it turned into a nightmare.
It did.
Temporarily.
It did.
But it doesn't feel temporarily at the time, does it?
It feels unending. And I had just a great team that supported me. I had a great husband. I have a great husband that supported me. He's my starter husband. It's only been 24 years. Yeah. So I tell him that, you're my starter husband. No, but yeah, and our kids were 15, 13, 11, and 9 at the time. So it was a lot, and that's a busy time.
Oh my God, are you kidding me?
Yeah, think about your obligations.
I have 9, 11, and 13, so I get it.
People were telling me you can't take time away from your practice. You just need to work. You need to work. And I believe, too, that you do need to have an associate to help reap some of those benefits of being a practice owner. I really feel like when you're just a single, I was just making money to make ends meet. And so I was building it back up and building the reputation. And, I got lots of those patients back from the pediatric specialist that wanted to come back. And, I just kept my nose to the grindstone and just kept going and just buried myself in continuing education and just continued to do good dentistry, to do honest, good work. And I think that that spoke for itself, I guess. And I'm still here. There were days I didn't want to be here anymore, but I'm still here. So
things are back and better than ever?
Things are so freaking good. I hired an awesome associate about 6 months ago. He's just doing phenomenally well. Patients love him. And I can pee during the middle of the day now because I have help. So I have 3 hygienists. I
just carry a bottle around.
I've got a bag. No, I never had to let any of my people go, and I think that was hard because I thought I was going to have to. Because overhead for your, for payroll is the hardest thing, right? And so, never missed a beat. I still have that debt. Yeah, I'm still paying that off, but it's all coming around, and I think I'm more excited than ever about where my practice is going because I feel like I've got this direction now.
And the associate buys you time.
And the associate buys me time.
And space and margin in your schedule.
And I'm always worried. I mean, I think you're always waiting for the other foot to fall sometimes, but you can't live like that. I don't know. I hope my associate is happy. I hope he wants to stay. I hope I'm creating a nurturing environment and being a good mentor. I love teaching. I love sharing knowledge, but you can't live wondering what's going to happen tomorrow. You know what I mean? Or you'll miss it today.
Well, I want to thank you for being so open, because you shared a lot of stuff that, but in the world of fake book and the fake influencer grammars, Instagram people, not enough people are open about depression. And as a husband to a psychiatrist who suffers from depression, has suffered from bouts of depression that are serious and ongoing depression that I take medication for, not enough people talk about about the tough times.
Yeah.
And there are times where I'm guilty of that as well. And the times that we want to give up, or the times that we feel like, we down on ourselves, like, how the hell did I let this happen?
Yeah, right.
And how am I going to get back out of this? And, what do I do? How do I show my face in the community? And, all the things that nobody talks about.
Well, we're not honest with ourselves because we're constantly comparing ourselves with everybody else. And now that it is so out there, that information on Instagram as you swipe just makes each case you look at, makes you feel, oh, I'm not doing that. Oh my gosh, I'm not doing that. Oh my gosh, that's so.
And we never take the perspective, the context of the person doing it.
For sure.
Is that the only filling they did all day long? Did they get paid $800 for that filling? Because I got paid $108.
I can only compare myself to what I was yesterday. And that's kind of my goal, is just to each day become better at my craft and my skills. And otherwise, I'm just an overglorified construction worker.
With mechanics.
Exactly. A pothole, I dig potholes and I fill them. You know what I mean? But I think that it's real dangerous, because especially the new dentists that are coming out now, I feel like are so connected to to Instagram and
Facebook. And
yes, and it's no different than when I was 13 looking at
MySpace?
17 magazine, right? No, I'm dating myself a little bit. No, but we can't.
CompuServe, AOL, you've got mail.
Dial up.
CDs in the magazines.
Right.
To install AOL. All right, if we could look back.
Yes.
Okay. What advice, or what would you tell somebody that you've learned from this experience that some people should look out for or understand?
Get a good attorney.
But when? Before? After?
I think really I learned that I was way too emotional about my decisions, and that just believing in something isn't a good business model.
Right.
That's really where I learned some tough love in business, and that you really do need to take the emotion out of it when making those decisions. And it's not a negative Nancy prenuptial agreement that, what if when we divorce? But I did learn some really hard lessons, even with my partnership agreement with my my prior partner. When we went to split, there were things in the partnership agreement that I didn't even realize were in there that I didn't do my homework on. And so I learned that I was making decisions that were based on emotion and excitement and all of that. And I've learned to really kind of put my big girl pants on and have a better perspective. And I feel much more prepared for the future and those business decisions now. And I don't take things as seriously anymore either.
Good for you. Well, I wish you all the best. I know you're doing beautiful work.
Thank you.
You need to put yourself out there a little bit more. Okay.
Thank you.
People should learn from you.
Thank you.
And thank you for sharing. So how can our audience get in touch with you?
Audience can get in touch with me by emailing me, J. Kirwan, KIRWANDDS, at gmail.com.
Not AOL?
No, it's not AOL. No.
And then probably can get in touch with you through all the social media
and through
channels.
all the social media chains on Instagram and Facebook and
Facebook and
MySpace, or what do we call it? Spacebook. Let's call it Spacebook.
Yeah.
Yes. So
well, best of luck to you.
Thank you for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you for your support.
Thank you for the opportunity.
And thanks for sharing your story. I appreciate it.
Yes, thank you. Oh, give me a hug.